My friend, have you ever looked at your life and wondered, why did I go through all that? Sometimes you go through pain, confusion, silence, and we don't understand why. Sometimes, but one of the greatest minds of all, Steve Jobs, said something that changed how I see purpose. He said, "Today I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. No big deal, just 3 stories." And those 3 stories revealed lessons that change how we live. And even here in Africa, in our homes, in our struggles, and in our dreams. Let me share these 3 lessons with you through our own African. One was talking about connecting the dots. Steve Jobs dropped out of college. He didn't have a plan, no clear direction, but he followed what caught his heart, a choreography class. At that time, it looked useless, but 10 years later, when designing the first Macintosh computer, that same choreography knowledge made Apple beautiful. That's when he said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. In our African way, there is a saying, the child who fetches water does not know which pot it will fill. You see, sometimes you are learning, struggling, serving, and you don't see the purpose, but one day those skills, those seasons will connect like roots beneath the soil. Nothing in your journey is wasted. Your pain, your failure, your forgotten talents, they are dots. Keep walking, because when purpose unfolds, you will see the picture of God was drawing all along. Let's talk about the second story, love and loss. Steve started Apple in his parents' garage, but years later, he was fired from his own company. Imagine that pain. But instead of quitting, he built 2 new companies, Pickers and Next. And yes, years later, Apple brought Next and invited him back to be as their CEO. He said getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Now let me tell you on an African story. There was a young farmer who planted maize every season. One year, the rain betrayed him. His entire field dried up. He almost gave up. But his father said, "Son, plant again. But this time, never near the anthill where the soil holds water." He obeyed. That year, his crop fed the whole village. Sometimes life pushes you out, not to break you, but to reposition you. Rejection is not the end. It is redirection. When one door closes, another opens wider, but you must have courage to knock. Let's talk about story 3, facing death. When Steve Jobs discovered he had cancer, he said, "Remembering I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever had." He meant that death reminds us that time is short. He said, "Don't waste your time living someone else's life." My grandmother used to tell me, when the cock crows, remember, one day you won't hear it again, meaning life is short. So don't postpone your purpose waiting for your perfect condition. Don't live copying others. Live fully, live truly. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, if today were my last day, what will I do? what am I doing? Because the truth is, one day you will be right. So, live boldly, forgive quickly, love deeply, and start now, because the world doesn't need anyone who is copying another person. It needs you, original light. So today, remember 3 lessons. Trust your dots. Every season, every tear, every delay has a season. 2, return your pain into power. What looks like loss may be soil where your greatness will grow. And lastly, live like it's sacred. Don't wait to become who you already are inside. My friend Steve Jobs said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They already know what truly wants to become. That is how you live on purpose. That is how you leave footprints, and not just sand, but in souls.